What's happening, y'all? This is another installment of Listens of the Month, obviously. This is for December. And unlike the other months so far, there's a lot less albums. I went on vacation for Christmas to Utah, and there wasn't that much full album slash EP listening going on aside from the trip there. Yeah, in general, just didn't listen to many like full albums this month. Of course, I listen to plenty of music like I always do, but when it comes to like the full experiences, not so much of that this time. So this video will go by a little bit quicker. So, like usual, let's go ahead and make myself smaller here. Starting off, we have Lamb of God, Philadelphia. Yeah, the live album that they put out after they released Ashes of the Wake. Love this live record. Doesn't hold up as much as I remember it holding up, I guess, but it's still really great. I love hearing the live renditions of The Subtle Arts of Murder and Persuasion, Black Label, The Faded Line. Yeah, it just goes hard. I wish they'd put out another one. It'd be nice to hear another live Lamb of God album. After that, we have this remarkable album right here. Now, like, it's far from my favorite Opeth record. This is Morning Rise, their second album, but this album just holds such a special place in my heart. It's so great. Like, the moody vibes and like, the songs, the transitions. Of course, it's a far from perfect album, but some of my favorite Opeth moments in general end up on this album, whether it be Advent or The Night in the Silent Water or the masterpiece that is one of my all-time favorite Opeth songs, To Bid You Farewell. Just love the gray, moody like aesthetic. It's really great. I love listening to this album. I love going back to it. Yeah, I strongly recommend it. Honestly, like, really check it out. Like, it's definitely, like I said, not the best Opeth release. I'm not the biggest fan of Nectar, and Black Rose Immortal is just long for the sake of being long, and that's probably going to get me in a lot of trouble with other Opeth fans, but regardless, it's great. Speaking of more albums I strongly recommend, Machine Head's The Blackening. It's hard to say if this is still my favorite Machine Head record, honestly, because Burn My Eyes is just that good. But holy damn, dude, The Blackening goes so hard. It's crushing, just from the first track alone. Like, this is really like one of those albums where you need to just like put on your headphones and just blast it, because the production is amazing. There are so many layered instruments, thick guitars. The tone is amazing. Some of my favorite songs in the world end up on this album. Beautiful Morning, Aesthetics of Hate, A Farewell to Arms. It's just fantastic. It deserves all the praise it gets and more. If you haven't heard it yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Then we have Chevelle with Sci-Fi Crimes. An excellent album, in my opinion, from front to back. Jars is obviously a great standout track. Letter from a Thief, Sleep Apnea, Mexican Sun as well. Yeah, still going through their discography again, and I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm enjoying every bit of it. Then we have a band called Grimaze. I believe they are Polish, and this is their only release so far. I mean, I hope they put out more music. Planet Grimaze. And it's a very interesting album. It's they clearly wear their influence of early Gojira on their sleeve. Like, you'll definitely hear like kind of recycled ideas from Terra Incognita on this thing, and it is a little bit one-dimensional. It kind of wears off pretty quick as the album goes on. But the first two tracks are absolute fire, just complete ass kickers, and it's definitely worth checking out. At least the first two tracks. It was good revisiting this. Some really cool riff ideas, and the vocals fit really well. The drumming is fantastic, but it does get a little one-dimensional, and the distorted vocals are a little distracting. But yeah, interesting album. Then we have Afski, I believe that's how you pronounce it, with if I'm gonna butcher this pronouncing, Ofte Jeg Gromer Migdod, I think. I tried. I definitely tried. And what a great album, honestly. Like, this is, when it comes to black metal, this right here is what I am looking for. This is a fantastic album. Just very thick and just relentless, loud, but not like overwhelming at all. And the production for black metal standards is actually quite polished and like really well mixed. I really enjoyed listening to this album. My good buddy showed me these guys, and it's a great black metal album for sure. And here's another great album. My brother showed me these guys. I think we listened to them while we played the new Mario Kart DLC. And this is The Moth Gatherer with Esoteric Oppression. Damn, this is a really good album. This is kind of like if ISIS were to continue as a band, this is pretty much how I would want them to sound. This is a really good album. I would say Utopia is probably my favorite track. It's really really good post metal for sure. Yeah, my good buddy might have shown my brother this, and then he just showed it to me. But regardless, yeah, it's great. Moth Gatherer, check it out. Then speaking of ISIS, their third album, Panopticon, not as captivating as I remember it being, but it's still a fantastic album. So Did We is an absolutely great track. Lots of shoegazy moments compared to their first two albums. Still listening through their records again because it's ISIS. They're fantastic. I absolutely love this band. But after that, the third album that me and my brother listened to, including Panopticon, while we played Mario Kart, Tesseract with Polaris. This is a really good album. It's really good. It's the return of the original vocalist that was on One and Concealing Fate, and I enjoyed it. There were a lot of really great moments on this, and I dug listening to it. Then after that, we have the almighty Pallbearer, their first album, Sorrow and Extinction. Now this is really how you do doom metal. Like, the riffs are slow yet just so powerful and just heavy stuff. I listened to this in anticipation for their show because they were touring on this album. It's the 10-year anniversary, and yeah, it's fantastic. Honestly, from front to back, like, it's so enjoyable, and I need to listen to a lot more of their stuff because it's very captivating. Heavy stuff for real. I strongly recommend this one, by the way. After that, we have Typo Negative and their album Life Is Killing Me. If I had to be honest about this one, I would say it's definitely their weakest release, in my opinion. I think I Like Goyles is a terrible track, for instance. And there's not really anything on here that really holds up to how good I Don't Want to Be Me is. Which kicks off the album and is easily one of their best tracks. But overall, I was a little underwhelmed revisiting this one. It's definitely not their best. After that, we have Bong Ripper with Satan Worshipping Doom. Want to talk about, like, just absolutely brutal stoner metal. Just like sludgy, just disgusting, low-tuned riffs. I think this album's tuned way down to F, and holy crap, dude, this was just absolutely gnarly. My good buddy that I mentioned put this on, I think either on the way to the Pallbearer show or might have been I think we listened to the AFSCII album after we went to a comedy show. We saw Brian Posehn. But I think we listened to Bong Ripper on the way to see Pallbearer. And yeah, this album's just absolutely just devastatingly heavy. Really brutal stuff. Then we have a fantastic, oh my god, the Nine Inch Nails with The Fragile. For how long this album is, like 2 discs, 23 tracks, every single song is good or great or fantastic. Not really a dull moment on this record. I would say, like, I guess like my least favorite song is Pilgrimage. But wow, this album really, really, really shot up in my books. It's absolutely great. Like, countless great tracks. I absolutely love how heavy and just pulsating Somewhat Damaged is, or just how powerful and big the Fragile is, the title track. Even tracks like The Great Below and Lumber are huge favorites of mine. Ripe with Decay is like, for how much of a perfect closer it is. Just the sounds, it's just so infectious, and like this album really is addicting. I absolutely love it. I can't really say enough good things about it. It really is their magnum opus in my opinion. Strongly recommend. Then we have Static X with Wisconsin Death Trip. This was a first time listen for me, just like Tesseract Polaris and Moth Gather Esoteric Oppression and the ASCII album. And damn, it's good. It still holds up. It's still fire. The production's great. The riffs are tight. I absolutely love this one. Whether it's I'm With Stupid or Love Dump or Push It. If you haven't heard it yet, you're definitely doing yourself a disservice. Then we have Chimera with Pass Out of Existence. This is still when they were doing more the new metal-ish thing. And yeah, it's a little long-winded. And there isn't so much variety, but there's enough there to where it is a pretty cohesive album, and there's a lot of just stupid heavy moments throughout this. I need to hurry up and listen to The Impossibility of Reason, because this was a first time listen for me. I've gone all this time without listening to Chimera, so good stuff. Then we have, oh my god, we have Cross's new EP. I'm so very, very, very happy that we finally have new Cross's music. I much rather prefer an album, but I mean, honestly, like with the two singles, Initiation Protection, and then this EP, you have 8 songs. That's kind of almost an album. Then put all the covers that you've like released as singles and put them on there. You have an album. Yeah, it's really good. I listened to this multiple times in December. It's really good, honestly. Great tracks. Day One, Holier, Vivian. That's definitely a wink to Britney Spears. Chino confirmed it. I absolutely love Crosses. I mean, the first song alone, Sensation, like so sensual, and like when that low end sub bass kicks in like in the middle of the verses, it's just so good. I absolutely love their song structures. I love Chino. Very happy this is here. Then we have an interesting record here. This is Leaving Time and their self-titled EP. This came up on Shuffle, I think after I was listening to Crosses, like on like album radio based on whatever, and I liked what I was hearing, so I listened to the whole thing. And it's nice. It's real neat. It's real post rock. Vocals are okay. Like they kind of get old real fast. Not really the biggest fan of them, but I definitely dug the mood and the songs on this one. I didn't hate anything I was hearing basically. Then I re-listened to Lamb of God, Omens, and it still holds up. It's still a pretty solid release from them. Definitely not my favorite, but Ditch still goes super hard. Nevermore is still a great track. The title track is great. Ill Designed is really good, as well as Gomorrah. I find myself digging those tracks a whole lot more too. September Sun as well. Lamb of God's one of my favorite bands. What can I say? Then we have Lil Texas and the Texcore 2 EP. And it's Lil Texas. It goes harder than a bag of bricks. 200 beats per minute. Just set the dance floor on friggin' fire. Why don't you? You hunk rascal, you. After that, we got Slayer and God Hates Us All. Honestly, I've gone back and forth and back and forth. I would definitely say this is probably my favorite Slayer album. And sure, that's probably blasphemous because like a lot of their crowning achievements were in the 80s and of course 1990 with Seasons of the Abyss. But I can't get over the intensity and ferocity and anger of this album. Tom Araya has never sounded more pissed. Like the songs are fucking crushing. Like, sure, a lot of it is simplistic, and like the riffs aren't very like complex like they used to be, but it fits the attitude and the mood so well. And yeah, just from front to back, mostly like the first half or so is where all just the absolute just best songs are. I really can't say enough good things about this album. It's definitely not perfect by any means, and it's not for everyone, but I love it. I fucking love it. After that, we have Nine Inch Nails with The Slip. This was a free album that they put out same year that they put out Ghosts 1 through 4, year after year 0. And it's good. Honestly, it holds up. Like, it's a little short, but like from front to back, like there's really not any bad like songs on this at all. I really enjoyed listening back on it. Discipline's one of my favorites. Letting You, it goes so hard. I saw them play Letting You and A Million when they played at Aftershock 2017, and that was really nice. And The Four of Us Are Dying is a really neat, like, little chill out ambient type song on here too. Yeah, real good stuff. Then we have a batch of albums here because for some reason I thought, like, I was under the impression that I was going to go see Amon Amarth, Carcass, Obituary, and Cattle Decapitation. But the tickets were never seized. But I listened to these albums anyway. First off, here is Obituary, Cause of Death, and I have tried, but I just can't really get into Obituary. This is their second album, and I mean their first album was okay. Maybe it's just not for me. Maybe I need to listen to different albums of theirs, but I just couldn't really get interested in this album, so I do not recommend this one. On the contrary, Carcass, Heartwork, strongly recommend. Holy crap, this album is awesome. I can't believe how good this album is, honestly. Like, this is peak melodic death metal. Like, where would it be without this album, honestly? Like, it laid out the foundations for like how to perfectly craft a death metal album with riffs, with melody, and it just kicks ass. It's absolutely awesome. Strongly recommend. After that, I decided to give while these are also first time listens, this is a first time listener for me as well. Morbid Angels, Formulas Fatal to the Flesh. And yeah, this one absolutely kicks ass. I don't know if I like it more than some of the other releases, but there are some moments on this that are just like absolutely killer. Absolutely killer. I enjoyed listening to it, and I still need to get a move on with their discography. Continuing my little death metal marathon, we have Job for a Cowboy with Ruination. Fantastic album. Like, these guys really know how to craft like a really solid death metal album front to back. Haven't listened to this album in years, and boy did I enjoy revisiting it, for sure. Then we have Black Dahlia Murder with Everblack. Yeah, this one's really solid too. It's not nearly as good as, say, like Ritual or Nocturnal, but there's definitely a good batch of songs here. It Missed She Was Standing obviously stands out. Raped in the Hatred by Vines of Thorn. It is a little hit and miss for their material, but yeah, it's not bad by any means. Like, quality riffs, like great vocals as always from them. Then we have Party Cannon and their EP Partied in Half. These guys really just rip it up. Like, this is killer slam. Love the album cover. Love the album name. I mean, it just absolutely fucks you up in the best way possible. Like, some great tracks on here for sure. Then we have a deathcore classic, All Shall Perish with The Price of Existence. Yeah, it still kind of holds up to this day. Some great songs for sure. Obviously, Wage Slaves and There's No Business to Be Done on a Dying Planet. Yeah, honestly, not a bad album. Haven't heard it in years, so it's nice to revisit it. It was a first time listen for me right here. Carcass with Surgical Steel. Really solid album, honestly, from front to back. Not nearly as good as Heartwork in my opinion, but I did enjoy a lot of what I was hearing. It was a little more stripped back, not as heavy. but it was definitely a pretty solid listen for sure. Then we have Mac Miller, Live from Space. Somewhat, I mean, mostly a live album, but there's some studio tracks on here too. Kind of a weird thing to do, don't you think? But I really appreciate it. It's nice to hear some songs reimagined, done a little differently. Yeah, I can't wait to listen to it again because this is a first time listen for me, and yeah, I pretty much loved it. Then we have Baroness with Purple. This turned 7 back in December when I listened to this, and obviously I strongly recommend it. It's a really, really, really good album from front to back. I keep on going back and forth about whether like I love this more or if I love Yellow more, but yeah, Purple's so good. I've talked about it before in a previous video, but yeah, check it out. Then we have Parkway Drive and their second album, Killing with a Smile. You want to talk about like how to do metalcore properly? Just absolutely killer riffs, call-outs, vocals, breakdowns. This is the blueprint right here. This album absolutely rips. I loved listening to this. Then continuing on with death metal, we have Frozen Soul with Crypt of Ice. Now, like, this is what, like, if Obituary had like deeper vocals and had like cooler riffs that were like low tuned to A, this is kind of how I would want them to sound. Like, these guys are heavy. I saw these guys live some months back, and yeah, this album front to back, short. It's somewhat one dimensional, but they really do make it work with like some like killer riffs and ideas, and just the concept overall is awesome. Yeah, can't wait to hear more from these guys. Then we have Ison, Inner Space. You know, if you've been watching my videos, you've seen me praise Ison like countless times. Absolutely love these guys. Great album. Obviously, strongly recommend. The first 4 songs alone like make like for like a perfect EP. The last half, it's not nearly as strong, but it's still like, damn, Equals, the title track. I Say, and Radiance with the guy from Alcest on it. Just great stuff. Great stuff. Then we have the Kisa Strain with Death is the Only Mortal. And I didn't really enjoy this one as much as Wormwood, but there's still like quality stuff on this album for sure. Tons of great riffage, and I'm still progressing through the discography as we speak. So yeah. Then we have one of my all-time favorite albums, Casualties of Cool. This is a project that Devin Townsend and Che Amy Dorval put out in 2014, and I really can't say enough good things about this album. It's very, very, very... So it's like a combination of chamber rock, new age, and country, with a bit of like ambience thrown in too, and it like I would just suggest like reading up on the concept behind this album, but it's just gorgeous. Che Amy Dorval's vocals are beautiful. The songwriting is great. The production is absolutely amazing. Just the tracks, Mountaintop, Flight, which is probably my favorite, Moon, probably my other favorite, Ether, Bones. My goodness gracious. And even more country twang ones like Daddy and the Code, Forgive Me, The Field. Just from front to back, I love revisiting this album. Easily one of my favorites of all time, and I would love to see Devin and Che McDorval do another Casualties album. I can't say enough good things about this album. I can go on and on forever about it. Strongly recommend. I should also mention this was the start of the road trip to Utah. So basically, all of these, everything that follows is either on the way there or while I was actually there. Sepultura, Chaos AD, their best album in my opinion. It's just too damn good. Like, what is there to say? It grooves. There are just fantastic riffs. The songs are so memorable. It's just catchy and heavy. I'm at a loss for words. Propaganda, Nomad, Refuse Resist, Territory, Slave New World. Okay, strongly recommend. Then we have Spangle with Tales of the Inexpressible. Now, if you don't know what Spangle is, Spangle makes really psychedelic electronic music. It's I guess the term for it is sci chill. Real chill out music. Great little edits. Very worldly, like very much in touch with world music, and easily my favorite Spangle album. Great memories associated with this record. It's a great front to back. I strongly recommend it. Honestly, it's great. It's great for driving through the mountains and the forests. Hell, the ocean. I I love it. I absolutely love this album. Another one of my favorite albums, like, of all time, 30 Seconds to Mars with This Is War. I'm just gonna end up like sitting here and just going on and on and on about how much I love this album. Hurricane is easily one of my favorite songs of all time. The production and the vocals, what the hell, Jared? They're just killer on this record. I heard Kings and Queens on the radio back when this album first came out, and I was like, wow, I love this. It's so anthemic and powerful, and it's just great. And so I bought the record, and I still have it here somewhere. Love it. Night of the Hunter, just to kick it off, is just amazing. Closer to the Edge, Stranger in a Strange Land. It's so sexy. It's so sexy. It's so sexy. And even the L490, like the little acoustic number at the end, is just so passionate. I can't put into words how great this album is. Really not a bad song at all either. Strongly recommend. Then we have Dido, Life for Rent. Now, I only listen to this because I have memories of taking the road trip to Utah, and my mom had a bunch of CDs, and this was one of them, and I always enjoyed it. It was nice to revisit it. It's got some great tracks on it. I mean, there's the hit White Flag, obviously, and I was always really attracted to the song Stoned. The title track is good. Even tracks like Sand in My Shoes is really good. See You When You're 40, Who Makes You Feel, or the one that I didn't know this until recently. The track Don't Leave Home is about drug addiction, and it's basically sung from the perspective of the drug being relied upon. Yeah, it's a really good record. Of course, I mean, it's not for everybody. But yeah, it was great to revisit it. Then we have this slapper right here. Recently, I realized it's not quite my favorite Nine Inch Nails record, even though it was for quite a while, but it's still so good. This is a quality record right here that I strongly recommend. With Teeth, and damn is it good. So many of my favorite Nine Inch Nails tracks end up on here. The title track, obviously, just like it would come on the radio sometimes, and it's still so damn good. I love Only. The Hand That Feeds, obviously. Sunspots. I absolutely love Sunspots. Love going back to that. Line Begins to Blur, Getting Smaller, Beside You in Time. But honestly, that closing track, Right Where It Belongs, easily one of my favorite songs of all time. I adore that song. Yeah, strongly recommend. Moving on from there, we got a kickstart on the Devin Townsend By a Thread series. The first 4 albums of the Devin Townsend project performed live, basically. And first off was Key, obviously, and yeah, it's a great record. I love Key, and it's good to hear. It was good to hear these albums in a live setting, and yeah, Key is really good. Terminal and Winter, Coast are easily some of my favorite tracks that Devin has ever done. Gato is really good too, and Disruptor is the quietest metal song ever. It's heavy, but so quiet and subdued. That's a good word for this album, is subdued. Then we have Addicted, and my God, what a change in pace. Seriously, every single song is it's like a Six Flags theme park ride theme. That's the best way to put it. So much energy into these songs, and they rock. They're heavy in their own way. They groove, and you can dance to all of them. I absolutely love Addicted. It's easily one of my favorite releases that Devin's ever done. Strongly recommend for sure. Yeah, once this came on, in the car ride, I was just just going hard, dancing the whole time, singing all the songs. The title track, Super Crush. Bend It Like Bender. It's just great. Numbered. I can go on and on about it for sure. Strongly recommend. I also strongly recommend this fantastic work of prog metal right here. Death with the Sound of Perseverance. Just fantastic, really. With this sound, I really do believe Chuck was just getting started, and it's my favorite Death release. Honestly, it really is kind of like a must listen. You just gotta like experience it for yourself. Story to tell, Spirit Crusher, Flesh in the Power It Holds. I go back to that one so often, but honestly, Voice of the Soul, one of the greatest songs ever written. I absolutely love that song. I can never get enough of it. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. One of my favorite songs of all time. And moving on from there, we have Ison with Aurora, their latest album until like they released one this year, and it's really good. It's really good front to back. Jupiter, Meridian are just absolutely fantastic tracks. I think we were listening to this while we were playing Wii Golf, and it's just real chill, just real great songs, real great variety. I've talked in depth about them, obviously. Yeah, it's Ison. Then the last two, Christmas themed. First off here is Psychostick with their EP, The Flesh Eating Roller Skate Holiday Joyride. Metal Christmas songs. They're absolutely great. I'll never forget when I first discovered them. I discovered this. It's fantastic. Check it out. It's essential for Christmas time. And then this is a placeholder for K-Mac's a death metal Christmas EP, which goes even harder than the Psychostick one, like in a ridiculous fashion. It's only like a 7.5-minute EP, but it's my EP of the month. Just please listen to it. Like I strongly recommend listening to K-Mac's A Death Metal Christmas. You won't regret it. You'll be laughing your ass off. It's just like relentless and just absurd brutality. Yeah, that's it. That is everything. I would say Pallbearer's Sorrow and Extinction is my album of the month for December 2022. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in once again. I really, really appreciate it. Subscribe for future videos. Apologize for the lack of consistent content. I never motivated to just set up everything, light, camera, script, or whatever, so I can get a move on with this channel. But it means a lot that you're actually taking time to watch this and nerd out with me. So yeah, leave a comment or like or whatever. You don't have to. It just doesn't matter as long as you enjoy.